Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be doing a super quick video talking about the new Jurassic World Survival toy line, what's coming out next year, since we had quite a few figures for it revealed. Well, not a lot, we had 3 new ones, well, 4 new ones, plus 1 re-release confirmed. So, yeah, let's take a look at these figures. Starting off, we have the new Chomp and Charge Carnotaurus, and this figure I'm kind of split on. On one hand, I actually quite like the colorations of it, with it being kind of a blue coloration with the purple on top, and the kind of tan underbelly, plus the kind of black feet look really good. I just feel like there could have been a little bit more of the purple patterns, but outside of that, really good. Heck, maybe even add more of that black fade that's on the legs onto the end of the tail. That could have looked pretty nice as well. And this is like the actual inbox figure, so I'm more confident in actually talking about this color scheme. But yeah, it looks pretty good. And then we also have the promo images. I definitely do think that this is a little bit more of, like, at least one of more of Mattel's more gimmicky figures. And I am a little bit worried for this figure as is, since I think it might have standing issues. And also, just looking at this promo image, I'm really hoping this is not like the main standing position. Oh my goodness, this is horrible. This is the main standing position. But yeah. Again, I don't think it looks horrible. I do think it looks nice. And when we go to this next image, you can see that this looks very similar to the Disney's Dinosaur Carnotaurus. So yeah, that's definitely interesting. But yeah, it also has the more like kind of more speculative bull-like horns that I see some paleo artists give Carnotaurus. But yeah, I generally think that this is a pretty cool figure. I don't know about the action feature. I think it could be cool, though I think it may hinder the figure in its actual like design. I also think it could have been cool if they picked the genus Pycnonemosaurus instead of Carnotaurus, since Pycnonemosaurus is bigger than Carnotaurus, and also could have just changed things up to make it a little bit more unique. They could have even kept the horns, since again, I don't think we really have that part of the skull of Pycnonemosaurus, and like, I mean, Path of Titans did it. I don't see why the Jurassic franchise can't do it too. So yeah. Again, I think that this figure is nice, though. I don't know. Might be a figure I pick up once it goes on clearance, though. I don't know if I'll get it when it first releases. Definitely think that, again, I think the color scheme's really cool, and I just not a fan of the legs. I feel like the legs might ruin this figure. But yeah, the rest of it's still pretty cool. And then here's what I get from the back. Again, I also like that it's blue, which is freaking awesome. Also, I've heard some people say that this is somewhat, might be based off of what it was supposed to look like in Rebirth, and if that's so, that would explain a lot. If this was what the camouflage Carnotaurus was supposed to look like, that would explain a lot of reasons why the, well, stupid dragon has the same colors. And oh my goodness, I'm not going to start talking about Rebirth, because the more I think about it, the more I hate that film. So yeah, we're not going to go there. But yeah, if this was the coloration the Carnotaurus was going to have, a blue Carnotaurus would have been freaking awesome. But before I start ranting about Rebirth, let's move on to the Strike Attack figures. And I don't really like these. I like one of these figures, and the rest of them I think are pretty bland. Though, honestly, I did come to the realization today that, yeah, the Strike Attack figures are just the most mediocre wave that Mattel released. Like, seriously, look at all the Strike Attack figures that have released since Dominion, and literally all of them have been really mediocre. Again, since Dominion, they're always very cartoony and, again, just kind of bland. With a few outliers, like Chasmosaurus having a good sculpt, and then Inostrancurvia and Caprasuchus just simply being cool based off what species they are. They're all pretty mediocre, and that's why I'm not judging this new toy line off of these figures. This is just kind of the norm for the Strike Attack figures, just not being the best. And honestly, if we're going off of just like sculpt alone, I'd say that these are a little bit better than a lot of them, though at the same time worse than quite a few, so I don't know. Again, I just don't think that these are the best, but again, I don't think that this really represents the entire toy line. We really need to see like the Danger Pack and Wild Roar figures and Gigantic Thrashers for this wave. I'll probably do a concept video soon, but yeah. Anyways, moving on, we don't actually know what any of these guys are, but I am going to give my best guesses. First, we have the Pterosaur, which I'm guessing is Patinosaurus. Patinosaurus, which, well, again, we'll talk about more about the figure in a second, but I'm going to talk about why I think it's Patinosaurus. Just looking at it, I mean, it has a rounded snout similar to Patinosaurus. Patinosaurus also has some decent amount of popularity for being a Triassic pterosaur, with it appearing in Walking with Dinosaurs, of course, and then also, I know this is a lesser appearance, but Dinosaur Train, hey, it still counts, so yeah. Definitely think that's why I am guessing that this is Patinosaurus. And again, there are a few other creatures, like for example, this pterosaur, which is related to Dimorphodon, also has a rounded snout. Definitely could be this guy, though this guy's just not as popular, and also its snout is a little bit different, so maybe not, but at the same time, I definitely wouldn't be surprised if it was this guy. There are some people saying that this is a new Dimorphodon, which if Carnotaurus got a redesign, I don't think it's impossible that this is a more accurate Dimorphodon. And honestly, I wouldn't hate that, since the Jurassic Dimorphodon is definitely rough, and this could be cool as a more accurate Dimorphodon. Anything but Eudimorphodon. Some people are saying this is Eudimorphodon. I really don't think this is Eudimorphodon. Literally, Eudimorphodon has a completely different skull shape, and outside of sharing a name with Dimorphodon being kind of similar, it doesn't really look like Dimorphodon much, while these other guys, I think, definitely are a way better fit for this animal. Eudimorphodon is just like the one thing I don't think this thing is, and honestly, even if we're going to use the argument of it's Mattel just didn't make the sculpt too accurate and got the head shape wrong, then honestly, there's so many other pterosaurs we could also go with guessing this thing is. And frankly, it's not even worth it. If anything, we could just guess this is Igneognathus since it has the long tail like the Rebirth one, but it's not. It's not Igneognathus. I'm guessing this is going back again to Patinosaurus. I think this is Patinosaurus. Hey, comment down below what you guys think. Anything but Eudimorphodon, but anything else, I definitely think this could definitely be pretty much any simple pterosaur with a long tail and a rounded snout. I definitely think that this is the best figure that's been revealed so far. I think this is just a really good pterosaur figure. The colorations on the wings look great. It looks similar to that one Rhamphorhynchus figure that we got. The head color is actually this thing's color scheme is also very similar to that new Chaos Theory Therizinosaurus figure we kind of got a little while ago, with like the red snout and like the dark blue colorations. The wing colorations again just look great. The sculpt looks great all around, and it has a simple action feature of flapping wings by pressing the button. Again, if this is Patinosaurus, I think that this is easily the best strike attack figure that we're getting this wave. The others, again, we'll get back to them. Not super excited for those guys, but this one is definitely one I'm picking up. And the Carnotaurus is still kind of pending. Next, we have the Ceratopsian, which is like, I really don't want this to just be a new Cosmoceratops, but it honestly looks like it might be a new Cosmoceratops. Going into talking about a few like other species it could be, and plus why I think why a lot of people think it is, including me, it's probably a new Cosmoceratops. I mean, it has like the downward facing kind of horns on the top of its frill, and also the more sideways why do I keep on saying it like that? Sideways facing horns, though it looks like it's facing too far sideways. And then also it has a large nasal horn, kind of similar to Ionosaurus, except not quite as extreme. So yeah, this doesn't quite look like Cosmoceratops, and if it is a new Cosmoceratops, why did Mattel just not reuse the old design and just, you know, maybe give it an updated paint scheme? Honestly, the old sculpt wasn't that bad, it just had a really bad paint scheme. I feel like it would have worked way better than re-releasing it worse. The Cosmoceratops was one of the worst Ceratopsians I think Mattel released, and then this is worse than that somehow, so yeah, I don't really like this figure so far. But a few other things I guess it could be. Wandaceratops has the downward facing horns, though it doesn't have the sideways facing horns, or the and the nasal horn is the wrong shape, so don't think it's Wandaceratops. Centrosaurus doesn't even have brow horns, and also the nose horn faces upward, and it doesn't really have the topward curling horns. Yeah, this thing's probably a new Cosmoceratops. There's just not really any Ceratopsians that fits this. I'm definitely, when I do concept, I'm replacing this thing, since I think there's a lot of other smaller Ceratopsians that would have been way better. But yeah, definitely, this is my least favorite figure so far. If it is a Cosmoceratops redesign, it's just not good at all. Next, we have this theropod. I'm guessing it's Dracovinator. I actually think it would be weird if it's not Dracovinator at this point. But a few other creatures it is, and why I think it's Dracovinator. Dracovinator just makes the most sense. First thing, it's appearing in a lot of Jurassic games more recently, basically as the more accurate Dilophosaurus, which this is clearly an animal related to Dilophosaurus, whatever this figure is. But yeah, a lot of people, again, a lot of the game appearances that we've been getting is, game appearances we have been getting of Dracovinator have been like Jurassic World the game, Jurassic World Alive, and again, Dracovinator is freaking awesome. It literally means Dragon Hunter. Like, again, I just think it'd be kind of weird if it wasn't Dracovinator. There are a few other options which we'll get to. But yeah, the red color scheme kind of also fits its level 40 design from Jurassic World the game. So yeah, I think it could definitely be Dracovinator. Next we have Sinosaurus, which could be an option. Which, again, this is another creature that might be synonymous with Dilophosaurus. But at the very least, it's a close relative of it. And yeah, probably would look pretty similar though. Again, Dracovinator just has a cooler name, so I feel like they would pick it over Sinosaurus. So, yeah, also Sinosaurus, I think it's only a game appearance with Jurassic World Primal Ops, and I don't think it even made it into the game, so yeah. Also, I just have to mention this new Beast of the Mesozoic art for the Zoic trading card game. Oh my goodness, this is freaking awesome. Can we please get a figure of this thing? I feel like this would be definitely a more reasonable figure to do, since they could probably reuse a lot of parts from Dilophosaurus. But anyway, speaking of Dilophosaurus, this could be an accurate Dilophosaurus. I think this is the least likely, since they're so attached to the Jurassic World design, and also, like, again, they could just release a close relative to be that, like, Dracovinator. Some people have mentioned Zupasaurus. I don't think that this is impossible, though I kind of also don't think it's very likely. Zupasaurus is just kind of weird. Like, I think the crest, I don't know how accurate this depiction of the crest is, But yeah, a lot of depictions of its crest are like this, and also only have a single crest. This figure, it's kind of hard to say if it has a single crest. If it has a single crest, then it's probably Zubasaurus, but otherwise, I definitely think that this is probably Dracovinator instead. So yeah, speaking of the Dracovinator figure, I think it's perfectly average. Again, this is what I'm talking about with most of the Strike Attack figures are just perfectly fine. I don't think they're horrible, and I also don't think they're fantastic. So yeah, I think this is a perfectly fine figure. I might skip out on it though, but yeah, don't think it's horrible if it's Dracovinator. Then we have everyone's favorite Nanotyrannus. Yeah, I don't think, honestly, I really would have preferred another new species. If anything, if they had to make a re-release, why not re-release Cosmoceratops? I think that would have been a way better one to re-release and then give us like a marine reptile here. Like Ophthalmosaurus or an Ichthyosaurus would have been great here. That would have made this wave so much better. Or really anything else. Just, again, we have a pterosaur, just give us another non-dinosaur, and I feel like this could have been so much better. Heck, honestly, they could have re-released the Dilophosaurus, and I feel like that would have been a better fit. So, yeah. Looking at all these figures, yeah, the Strike Attack wave is nothing fantastic, though none of the Strike Attack waves really are. So, yeah, I don't really have much of an opinion on this new series as of now, just because, again, we haven't gotten a look at too many figures, and again, the ones that we have gotten a look at are usually not the best that Mattel has to put out for a series. Strike Attacks are pretty average, and, well, the other figure, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's bad, though. Usually those larger figures are pretty hit or miss. They're usually either overly gimmicky, and they kind of do fault on the sculpt a little bit, though not usually too much. They still look pretty decent, or they're like fantastic, though I feel like the really fantastic ones usually come around with movie and series wave, like the Beckel Spinax and some of the Rebirth ones like Quetzalcoatlus, and then the more average ones kind of like that Epic Evolution Baryonyx, which again, don't get me wrong, I think that figure was great, but I think it was still not like super fantastic. But anyways, back to these Strike Attack figures. How are these guys' action features going to work? Like, they don't have like details. I mean, the Patinosaurus or whatever the pterosaur is easily has like a button on its back, and Nanotyrannus is just reusing its old action feature. But what do the other two have? I'm guessing you're either just, you have to push the legs down like we've had before in the past for some of the figures, or, I don't know, you have to move the arms down, or maybe you even have, the only actual articulation joint outside of like the jaw articulation on Dracovinator is like an action feature pretty much where you can like maybe push the neck down and it opens the mouth. Honestly, really hope that's not it, because honestly, I think the Rebirth action feature of controlling them by the tail is probably one of the best ones we've gotten from Mattel so far, so hope that some of the larger figures have that. Again, I'm going to do a content video, but for like what other figures we could get in this series, but what species do you want to see us get for this new series? I am really excited to see what Strike Attack figures we get. I'm hoping we get a marine reptile. Please, Mattel, I'm dying for more marine reptiles. I also hope we get more non-dinosaur creatures. I felt like the Rebirth wave definitely was a bit lacking for, especially when it's supposed to be land, air, and sea. And I really hope that they focus more on the land, the air and sea, because man, we've just gotten way too many dinosaurs. And, well, not too many, but we've gotten a lot of dinosaurs, and I feel like it'd be nice to focus on some of the other creatures as well. So, yeah, again, what are your guys' thoughts on these new figures? Again, I think they're perfectly fine. I think the Carno and Patinosaurus are great, and everything else is average. So, yeah, I do hope that we get to see more figures, and I do think this is going to be a pretty fun wave, especially with the colorations. Since, again, like, the Carnotaurus is a pretty fun color, the Patinosaurus, or whatever the pterosaur is a pretty fun color. The Dracovinator is pretty solid. It's like red with brown and white stripes. I think that's also pretty cool. The Cosmoceratops sucks, but, yeah, anyways. What's your guys' thoughts? Which one of these figures are you going to be picking up? And, yeah, see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.